All right, and this next game, I think it's the game of the week. I truly do believe this game of the week. I'm not just saying that because I'm an Eagles fan, but it's the battle. Last week we had the battle of the Super Bowl, the rematch, and now we have the rematch of the battle of the NFC North Championship. We have the Rams coming to Philadelphia, my Eagles, and the Eagles being favored by 3.5, and the over/under being 44.5. Let me just start real quick, Adam, with a rant here, okay? I am sick and tired of hearing about this goddamn tush push, okay? These whiners, these complainers, these babies, they complain and complain and complain. Now, have the Eagles, did they false start before that play? Yes, they did. But all these complainers, like Nick Wright, all these little babies who are mad because we shoved up their butts last year, an Eagles guy who breaks down all the Eagles plays, he showed going back to last year how many teams were of the defender, the D lineman helmets were ahead of the NFL football. Right there's neutral zone infraction, but they never call that either. But nobody wants to talk about that. They don't want to talk about how the helmet, when they're laid down, they never call it. The guy broke it down. He's on TikTok. He breaks down all these Eagles games. He's smart as hell. I'm a little biased because he's an Eagles fan, obviously, but I'm sick and tired of it. Hey, you know what? I don't care. Hey, by the way, who's tried it? Everybody has tried it. This just the second week. There's multiple teams that tried the tush push, and a lot of them failed. So that goes to show you, it's Eagles are just really good at it. Sorry that we have a
Bad for the
quarterback.
game. Bad for the game. It should be gone. I stand by the Packers' decision to try and ban it, and I will do that every year for the rest of time until it's gone.
It's bad for the game.
Yeah, it's boring as hell. I don't know. I've seen a lot of people say that like the formations are usually illegal. They jump early. Uh, Something needs to change. I hate it. They have the best roster in the league. They don't need to be humping down the field. They can play normal football.
Well, I I'm a big fan of it. I think it's revolutionary. I think it's
Yeah.
one of the best innovative plays ever created in the
Since the leather helmet, we're gonna put them back on and go at it. Whatever.
All right, so let's talk about this game. I think this is gonna be an awesome game. I'm gonna have to. I'm definitely gonna be pumped up for it. Let's talk about the Rams. The Rams are looking really great. They're coming off a blowout win against the Titans. It is the Titans, but that's what you do with teams like that. You blow them out. Um, Great all around team win for them. They sacked Ward 5 times. Nakua and Adams are looking like a good 1-2 punch. Like Adams, I didn't think Adams was like like he was getting old, but but I still think he still had some juice. So and Puka Nakua, the guy,
It's a beast.
arguably top 10 wide receiver now. It's like the guy could catch anything going his way. Stafford looks good. I kept on worrying about the back problems, so maybe the back problems are not there. Um, and they just everywhere. Their interior offensive linemen, I'm a little worried about. They're a little bit beat up there, and I think they're gonna have to double team Jalen Carter. I mean, everybody does, but I think they're gonna have to particularly pay more attention to him because they're a little shaky there. They're a little injured, so keep an eye out for that. But also just pump the brakes on the Rams right now, okay? They're gaining a lot of hype. Look who they played. The Texans have a terrible offense. They've looked like garbage and they have a crappy offensive line. They play in the Titans with a rookie quarterback with even a worse offensive line. So they have all these numbers on defense that look good, but go look at the teams they're playing. The Texans have the worst ranked offense in all of the NFL, and they played them. Okay, and I think the Texans will do better, but they need to get better, healthier. So just pump the brakes on the Rams. They played two crappy offensive teams, but like I said, with the teams they've played, they looked great. Now, anything you want to say about the Rams, man? I know before I jump into the Eagles a little bit more.
No, the offense looks great though. The Stafford, Nakua, and Adams trio is pretty deadly right now.
Yeah, and like I said, Stafford's killing it. I think they probably want to see a little bit from Kyrie Williams, but he has 132 rushing yards and a touchdown, so he's pleased.
Yeah.
He's doing all right. But Nakua's killing it. The Young has 3 sacks on their team. He looked like he's a beast like
I,
he was last year.
I will say on the defense, they have a good defensive line, but I think they're more of a pass rushing defensive line, not a run stopping defensive line,
True,
which
and
is huge in this game.
yeah, Barkley was ripping 60 yarders and like 50 yards last year. So it's like good point there. Now, part to the Eagles. I talk about the tush push. Okay, it's gonna happen. I hope the Eagles do it 20 times this game. Okay, just to make it, just to get piss people off, but also uh, I'll talk about things I don't like about the Eagles right now. The passing attack, like the passing game has been um you know, it's been not so great. And I think it has a little bit to do with that the new offensive coordinator. Now, I'm going to give him a little more grace, a little more time to be better because I know Eagles fans, we all know this in 2023 when they internally brought in that offensive coordinator, he looked terrible. He looked god awful. So, I know it kind of seems like that and I'm leaning towards that too, but let's give him a couple more games, a few more games and so let's see if he could turn around because that's the weakness of the Rams. If you could get after their corners because their front seven and like the Packers, it's meant to get after you and pass into situations. But if the offensive line for the Eagles, which I would say is the best offensive line in all bit football, if they could protect those corners who are not that they're good, not great, average, above average, they'll get torn up by AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith. But that's if they actually pass. But like Adam said, though, they've been gashed in the running game, and that's not the strong suit for the Rams. So I'm happy if they get we if I'm happy if Hurts throws for 100 yards again, but Barkley kills them. I'll take that any day of the week. So just remind you, I'm not too happy with the passing game, but just remember the Eagles passing game wasn't that great last year, and they won a Super Bowl for it. I'm also not I'm also worried about their second cornerback, Ed Jackson. He is not a good second corner, in my opinion. I think they need to replace him either via trade or the guy we traded for, Bennett from the Raiders. Give him a chance because you're going against Adams and Puka Nakua. I'm hoping Cooper DeJean and Mitchell follow them and let somebody, maybe the rookie we drafted in the fifth round, or Jackson play slot corner because I think he'll get torn up by these receivers. So we need to get after Matthew Stafford. Um, quick things I like though. I think Howie might have hit a home run with Campbell and Makuba, the safety who intercepted the Chiefs. Other than that, he's been playing great in both games. So I think he did really well picking those guys, and it's paying dividends now, especially Makuba game that almost that pick six.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Eagles are a great team. There is still just something that it feels weird when I watch them. It is like that offensive dysfunction of 2023, like you mentioned. I guess we're still waiting to find out if the Eagles on offense are just a slight downgrade from last year, or if they do kind of have a little bit of a crisis on their hands that they have to figure out.
Right. And I think this is going to be the biggest test, even more than the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Chiefs offense was putrid and they had no wide receivers. Now we're going against a team that has a bunch of weapons and they have a killer front seven. So this is the biggest test I believe yet in this season. So another thing I'm a little concerned about real quick before we get a prediction is that the lack of sacks. The lack of sacks that they have is not so great. Now I know Carter was out the first game and they had more sacks in the second game, and Carter opened the lanes for damn near everybody. But with Carter back and Zadarius Smith, who played all over the field last week, don't forget. Now we have three linebackers who are playing great, and Zadarius Smith could get after the quarterback. He had 9 sacks last year. For his age, that's pretty good. So with all that being said, man, this is the biggest test, I believe, for the Eagles. I'll go first. It's in Philadelphia. I'm I'm taking the Eagles. I am taking the Eagles. I think that the Rams are now go ahead. This is their big test. It's going to be a big game. They do get after the quarterback. Pay attention to two teams they played before. They had terrible offensive lines. The Eagles arguably have the best offensive line. They have the best tackle duels in all of football. That's not even arguable. And they have the best running back, arguably, in the NFL. So I think this is the Rams' biggest test, and I think this is the Eagles' big test. But I think Jalen Hurts, just like that game in the NFC Championship, he's going to take over. He's going to be running the ball. He could get away from those pass rushers. People, don't forget that Stroud is not a fast quarterback. He's not that. He's not a running quarterback. He got sacked. Cam Ward, he got sacked because he had the worst offensive line of football. So I think the Eagles hold it, and I think it's going to be a 27-21 kind of game around that range. So I think the Eagles running game and the offensive line does enough to pull them ahead, and they win this game and cover.
Well, I know it's in Philly, and I guess I don't care if those degenerate fans are throwing batteries and slim fast out on the field, whatever the hell they're doing. I think Matt Stafford's going to come in there and start slinging it,
Oh,
and the
dude,
Eagles aren't going to be able to hold up. You give me Stafford against Hurts, I'm taking Stafford.
that's just no logic bias right there. Just
Gambling,
kidding.
baby.
All right, guys. Well, there you go. I'm taking my Philadelphia Eagles to prove a point that they're gonna just bum rush the Rams and they're gonna put it to them. They're gonna take this hatred they're getting from the tush push and just funnel it to this game, and they're just gonna murder. I hope they run
Right
the
up that
tush push,
center's butt. They're going to funnel it right up that center's butt.
and
Twice
I
as
hope.
hard.
Hey, they're gonna come back and they're gonna show everybody that they're the team to be. Okay,